Woohoo! Are we live? For real? This is awesome. And thank you so much for joining us today in LinkedIn Live. And this is my first time. I have I have not tried this mode before and looks like a fun platform. So let's talk about the nuts and bolts of DPDI. We generally talk about what is there and what is this DPDI 2021 all about, but actually we do not know what happened behind the scenes, the why, the what, the how, and in fact all the iterations, pivots, versions, trials, tribulations, all of these things is hardly talked about. So, this series is just to have a fun chat with all of those who are involved in DPDI over the years. They have been our early adopters, amazing supporters, literally co-created this entire program with us, and it's going to be fun to talk to them about, or rather, have a chat with them about how DPD has come and where it has come, and I'm sure it has come a long way. So after running almost 17 plus cohorts, we were nuts, and we were doing so many experiments because I think the whole thing started to learning to teach. As a practitioner, when you become a teacher, there is no manual which tells you exactly how you teach. So, like a designer, how we do everything else, how we solve other problems. I think the only way we could catch up on what is teaching was just to teach. If you want to build something, go build it, and that's exactly the way that was used to really build this particular program. And once we have come to a point where we feel the version 17.0 is great, and I think this is worth sharing it with the world. I think that is when you feel like, okay, we call it as a name and make it more public, allow more of us to consume, because till then it's your friends, it's your early adopters, it's your fan club, it's your supporters. But now I think we have come a very, very long way for us to really go into the world, and it's super exciting to be here. And I have a couple of my friends joining me today to talk about, if you have anything curious about what is DPDI, why even choose the name DPDI, why are you not calling it as a UI UX bootcamp, why we should call it as a product design, any and all questions, it's welcome. And yeah, let's have an authentic, honest chat, and that's what this live is all about. So yeah, let's bring in some of our friends and talk to them about it. Woohoo! My
Hey
favorite
Karthi.
student is here. Raja, welcome to the live, and it's so fun to catch up with you. Probably you are the literally the first batch. So
True.
let's have a chat. I'm sure you are having a ton of questions about what's happening in 3 years, what has changed, and that's literally like 1,000 days. So yeah, let's talk.
Absolutely. Glad to be here, Karthi. Yeah, I mean,
Awesome.
I think, yeah, just before we joined this call, right, we had this thing, what changed? Like what really
Oh,
changed from DPDI, right? I mean, for us, when we were the first batch, everything was live, 5 a.m. like classes, right? Oh boy, I
I
still
know.
remember. I don't know how I pulled 100% attendance. I still don't know, but yeah, like somehow I did. At least I'm proud of that one thing more than anything else.
We are proud of
So,
many things.
so yeah, just help us out understand what changed, what you know.
So let's start with the 5 a.m. I think that was the best thing that we did in DPDI 2019. That was mostly because most of you were working and some of you were from different countries, and just to manage your time zone and workload, there was no other time in the day that I can say, oh, nobody is actually disturbing in this particular time, and that was 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. So it's a very designer's way of going and solving the problem and say that's the best time to learn, and let's learn at 5 a.m. So the live lectures was a big part of DPDI 2019 because it was important at 5 a.m. It was a great way to start the day and learn something totally new. So you're absolutely afresh, and you're starting the day and thinking about new ideas, and you're spending the day, and so that you can kind of kind of brew the ideas, and it can diffuse inside you. So that was the reason why we had that. But we also learned that live lectures is not a way to it did not work for everybody, and yeah, painful realization that not everybody is a morning person. So we stopped everything that is, for example, I'm not going to change anything about principles of design, right? I'm not going to change how memory works. I'm not going to be in a position to change the triune structure of the brain. So all these things can be actually recorded in a high quality video, and that would be a better way to actually talk about it, rather than telling you year after year that this is what it is. It's a waste of time. Instead, I could have actually spent more time with you in coaching you, in rather
Hmm.
than teaching you. It could have been better spent in coaching you, and that is what has changed between DPDI 2019 and 2021. So we moved from teachers to coaches, and that's a
Hmm.
huge shift.
Interesting.
Um,
Hmm.
so I keep here was an interesting question that came from your class, and you asked, okay, so should I come back to DPDI 2021? I said, okay, you learned DPDI cognitively. Now you will learn it experientially, right? In a transformative way. So if you want transformation, come back. That's what I, that was my pitch. So yeah.
I
Great. So
think
yeah, yeah, Arjun, go ahead.
I
Hey, by
think
the way, hello.
couple of hello,
Hey,
hello. I've been just listening on. But yeah, I think couple of things did not change between the 2019 and now, which is at that time we were trying to really teach in our own ways, because especially when you are in the field practicing stuff, doing a ton of projects, coming and shifting into a field of teaching something is absolutely different, and that is something that I did not even know. And but with a pure intent, we just came forward and said that okay, we will share whatever the goodness that we have experienced. So the things that didn't change, I think Karthi, you can elaborate on this, where I think we had it more in a very zipped format, but we have unzipped it totally in this particular DPDI, which is an ability to reflectively learn. Although we went in an information manner, I think the 5 a.m. kind of a thought process was also because once you imbibe it in the freshly with the beginner's mind in the morning, throughout the day you're actually just letting it sink, right? Because these are not simple things that okay, if this is orange, this is apple. It's not like that. These are complex concepts that you need to go ahead, sink in, apply, and try and see how it's going about in your own company, your own environment, and things like that. So that's
Hmm.
something that I just remember, that there are things that did not change. They became only even better and better.
Interesting. So, how do you think the curriculum has evolved in a way, like for what we had experienced in 2019? Like, do you think it's still the same, of course, or a lot has been added, or it has been made, like how has that evolved? Like, especially now that you are two batches after us, right, in a way. So, just just
Yes.
just curious about that. Yeah.
Uh, the curriculum has reduced.
Oh boy.
The curriculum has reduced. And I think it was a great experience for me to learn about learning, because without knowing more about learning, you can't actually teach. So, a teacher is a learner on steroids. That's how I have understood teaching. And it kind of took me off all the pressure of being called a teacher. But when you're just a learner on steroids, you pay attention to how learning really works, how your brain really, takes in information and processes it, and the data is converted all the way to wisdom. And this brewing process is what we call as learning knowledge. There are many layers to this. So what we have noticed is, when we are giving it as a ton of information, right? Information is easier to be given because it can be like how Arjun was saying, it's a zip file. We just bundled them into zip files and just gave it to you. But to for you to go and unzip it and go deeper and deeper, there are many folders within that zip
Mm.
file. So for you to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, you had to put so much effort. So there were too many zip files given to you, and that is why um, we could not see like overnight changes. We could not see the next Monday morning changes in your workplace. And best testimonials actually came to us after 1 year, right? So me and Arjun used to make fun of this, as like, what we got after 1 hour is a feeling, what we got after 1 year is a feedback. It's two different things. So what you gave us is a feel, and that made us wonder, like, we are not helping them to learn instantaneously. You have to go through it, brew it over a period of time, and that is when, if you put an effort, you are transforming. So there is a seed, a potent seed that has been put inside you for transformation, but the onus is on you to get transformed. So it's a crazy concept, right? But now what we have done is, you know what? We are going to unzip, we are going to go into specific layers, and we are going to take one layer and install inside you and make sure it sets inside you. And then we will add another layer, and we will compound another layer, another layer, another layer. So you're compounding over a period of time, and you can't cover lots in terms of information in this method. That is a master class. This is an experiential class. In fact, I would say this is more of a reflective class. Even experiential will take, less time. Reflective takes a lot more time. So we kind of brought in the master class, the experiential class, and the reflective learning, all of them together. And that's where this concept of radical started coming in. So should you know everything about cognitive psychology, like how DPDI 2019 was taught? Maybe not. You you're not going to use all of it at work. And should you know all the tenets and the factors that we discussed in research methods? Maybe not. Maybe in till date, in 21 years, I have used only 4 to 5 methods, and I have just mixed between these four. Why should you know all the 20 methods? I mean, you're welcome to know, but why should you know? And should that be the first thing to know as a researcher? And these are questions we asked, and we said exactly what they should know to excel in the industry. That alone we are going to give in a transformative way, which means tomorrow morning you will be able to apply it. You don't have to take one more step to actually go ahead and learn it further, right? And after going through the 20 radicals, you are a designer who is ready. Now you will be able to learn through continuous learning if you want to. And that's the power of, I'm not saying that in 16 weeks you are going to know anything and everything. I'm only saying you will master the fundamentals. So that is why I say it's been cut down. It's
Mm.
your zip files has been of shrunk into just 20 important things, and that's about it. So it's also taking off a lot of cognitive load. Oh my God, I'm learning so much and I'm not going to remember. You don't have to even take notes in DPDI 2021. We have brought it down to that. It's like we're going to install it inside you. There is no other way to put it. And probably Arjun, in fact, it was interesting between both of us. I came from an academia background. I went to a design school. I have sat through all the grueling lectures. I wrote research papers. That's how I came up. Whereas Arjun, as a self taught designer, he came and said, all this is not needed. I can be a fantastic designer without knowing about memory. I have worked for 10 years without knowing about memory. Karthi, what are you talking about? And that made me think, oh, so what is needed to excel in your career is not same as that of what is needed for you to know about the subject more. So this was an epiphany in many ways for me, and all thanks to Arjun for bringing that up and kind of messing with my brain.
Yeah.
I do agree that we were overwhelmed, but we were overwhelmed in a good way. I mean, I think we were exposed to so many subjects that we were unaware of. See, I'm also a self-taught designer, right? So, and I thought I almost knew everything by looking at all the books and articles and basically, everything that I can find under the sun. But like turns out, you expose me to an entirely different angle. Although I
Mm,
agree that we don't use it like that much, but the very fact that we have internalized it, and as you like mentioned, it took a while. It's not that the very next day we were like, okay, the very next day our eyes would be like, okay, what is this thing? All right, we have no clue what Karthi is teaching. But after a while, it did help. And then I guess what you're teaching, once you have more experience, you're able to understand what it means if you're able to recall it, right? But yeah,
that's
I do
what
agree. Yeah, yeah,
that's the feedback and the feeling. So
true that.
all our students, every single one of you, came after a period of time and said, "Now I understand, Karthi, what you said then."
The aha moment is after a year, it seems.
Exactly, exactly. The aha moment happens only after a period of time. And
True.
that's what I'm telling you, Raja. The onus was on you. And as a
Mm,
student who had an awareness, who was able to nurture that potent seed inside, is able to see the results of it. But I don't think all of us have the time or energy or a context to even have that kind of a nurturing garden, so to speak, right? So not all our workplaces are equal. Let's
true.
Yeah,
awesome.
that's true. And I think I had, as Kati was mentioning, I had the only thing that I was looking at post 2019 was uh, I would like to put it as in two most important aspects. One is the way we have evolved in terms of how to approach learning, how we are learning, how students are learning, how different people are learning, whether it is a CXO or a new budding designer, or anybody in between as a professional designer. I think the experience of going through all of them. I don't know if you remember, Karthi, the kind of cohorts that we have done in
Oh,
all these corporates and things like that. I think that allowed us to uh, kind of internalize and see how the learning patterns are and how to take our structure in a much more better way. And I don't think this DPDI has happened just as tada, there's a new kind of a version that's coming. That's not how it happened. It happened slowly, like a how you brew a coffee, right? That's how it happened over the years. And I think, especially in the past 6 months, we have kind of come together, and we were just trying to, plan. Okay, Kati, what kind of cohorts are we trying to bring, and what is the program that we are trying to do? And we had like a couple of important projects that we wanted to bring to light. And as part of that, specifically, we picked DPI because this is something that is close to our heart, and it is also something that is of a more urgent need, more demand supply skew is still there in the industry. So this is something that we wanted to solve head on rather than bringing other programs up right now. So yeah, it has evolved over a period, but in the 6 months, it's like version 1 to version 10 happened in the 3 years, but version 10 to version 30 happened in just 6 months. So that's kind of how I would like to put it. So suddenly there's a huge jump in the way we have understood, kind of, brought forth. It didn't even occur to us that this is how we would end up, but it so happened.
Interesting. So interesting thing that I mean, brought up. I remember back in 2019 when I was trying to find design boot camps to help me out in a way, a lot of them were so focused on tools, right? It's like, okay, hey, let me just, you could just go, okay, you will become a designer if you learn. Back then I think it was Adobe XD, Sketch, and now it's Figma, right? So
Yeah.
now I somehow felt, okay, so this is great, I can learn tools maybe by myself, but is that what design is? Because my experience, so I am a journalism grad who turned sorry, a journalism grad turned founder, like who transitioned into product management, right? So it didn't feel natural that, hey, this is not design. All right,
Mhm.
I had a more, I feel, deeper exposure to design. And that's why DPDI, when I saw the curriculum, I was like, okay, wait, what is this? This is interesting, because this is something different that no one is talking about. Do you think the environment is still the same, or it has sort of evolved? Others are sort of catching up.
One thing we have done, and I said this even when I was in my last corporate avatar, I remember this distinct conversation with my SVP when he comes, and because we took the design team from 3 members to like 45 members, having 9 nationalities in one 10,000 square foot studio, funded by government, and writing grants and proposals. This is a lot of work that happened in 7 years in my HP time. So he used to ask me like, what is the base of your passion, right? What why are you so passionate about this? And I told him one thing: we get to change printing, not just printers. And that was a very powerful thought. Similarly, if I just take the same analogy here, we get to change design education, and not just, 1 or 2 cohorts. It's a now, what we have done is, I'm very proud that we are actually raising the bar of design education, that our industry is responding to it in such a way that the market language has changed. Slowly, people have started talking about product design as product design, and not anymore in the toolish language. So we are bringing in a certain bar to design education. So it's hard to bullshit when somebody is actually talking the real stuff. So that's something we are very proud of doing. Probably the scale is not something a small team like this will do, but I remember this ad between BMW and Mercedes very beautifully. We have been here for 130 years, and you have been here for 100 years. And thank you so much for giving us this awesome competition for 100 years. Honestly, the 30 years before you were actually boring. And that ad just blew me out, right? And I want our competitors to feel that way. I want the partners in crime to feel that way, that we are here to raise the bar of design education of our entire country. In fact, I would say entire globe. I don't see it as, borders, as this is India, this is Asia. I'm like, design is global. Come on, let's raise the bar of design. And that's how I look at it. So we have definitely moved everybody in 1 inch forward. And now people are slowly talking about, oh my God, I have to talk about experience mapping. I have to. So it can't be fooled around anymore, right? And that's definitely 1%, 1 inch forward, I would say. But a long way to go. Definitely a long way to go. Still, lot of boot camps are still not talking the language of skill, of the composite skill that we are. And this is a sad truth, right? None of the professors that are actually teaching in these large universities, who are definitely teaching design, have been through the industry's grueling experience. So what
Hmm.
happens is, when you do not have an idea what happens in the industry, and you come from a very principle method approach, the way you put it in action is going to be completely different. So you will give assignments, oh, take 3 weeks, go ahead and do the lovely research and come back. In industry, when they pay you 150 $200 an hour, they're like, 3 days, come and tell me how to make this better. So there's a huge difference in terms of pressure, in terms of constraints. So how are we going to teach this industry readiness to our designers? So what I see is, when we come from grad school, we are taking 8 months to catch up in the industry, and that's a royal waste of time for the employer in many ways, right?
Hmm.
So, oh, I got a design grad, and all design grads are taking more time. And oh my God, I have to train them again in my domain. This is so what happens is they come back and say all designers are like this, which is not true, which is so not
Hmm.
true. So in that sense, we want to bring this distinction between designers and industry ready designers, because all designers are not industry ready in my opinion. So we are the language is seeping in, and I really hope, I want to host a breakfast with all my the so-called partners in crime or competitors, whichever way. And I want to have a roundtable with them and say, how can we raise the bar of creative problem solving together? Friends, I need your help, literally. Because if we don't take a collective action like that, we are not going to have a language which is very common and shared among all um, the 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 design world, the design tribe. So yeah, that's that's a crazy thought, but I really think we should do that.
Hmm, true. I mean, like the very phenomena of product design is has evolved from the industry, right? It's not an academic phenomena, right? There, I
Yep.
think it's human computer interaction, human factors, right? So the
Yeah.
fact that you have to now have a product mindset when you're designing is extremely important. So I guess yeah, I think that's where you're leading to, and I think you're like one of the few boot camps which calls himself a digital product design like program.
Yeah. I think the
Others are
only
yet to. Yeah, and you see that now, right? I think late 2020, early 21, you will see a lot of now companies realizing it, and new hires are no longer UI UX designers; they're product designers, and that's a
yeah,
very big shift because there is a expect. It's just not a nomenclature shift; it's a change in expectation from a designer as well, right?
totally.
Because these two roles sort of are merging, and being a designer and a PM, I sort of understand that. Like I have to don both the hats every day,
Yeah.
so in a way, it sort of I can see where it is heading, and it will only become more sophisticated from now on, right? There's a
Oh,
sort of an expectation that like this is the new baseline. Just
mm-hmm.
knowing Figma is not enough anymore. You're
Not.
not cut to be a designer, right? So now you need to sort of raise the bar, as you say. And I think yeah, you guys are doing a fantastic job there. So yeah.
I don't know. Probably our friends are going to hate us, but somewhere, at least we are. The Heart Talk series that I'm that was
Hmm.
a spur of the moment decision. That's why you see me in that
I
triple.
remember those conversations we used to have internally, right? 101 sort of a thing
Exactly.
every day. Yeah.
Well, if you look at Hard Talks, most of the videos that it was shot on the same day. Arjun was like, "Okay, you keep talking. I'm just going to film you." I'm like, "What are you doing? I'm not even dressed properly." He's like, "We don't care. Just do it." And that was from the heart, right? And these are the conversations we should be having in the industry as well. So the running joke in Experian is whatever the idea that I wake up one morning, it's going to take at least 4 years for it to come alive, because there's so much work needs to be done for that one idea to become real. So I think it has taken 4 years, isn't it? Three years is done. This is the fourth year. So
Absolutely.
But
that
Karthi
hard
dreams
work.
big, so there's no wrong in that. So yeah.
No, Karthis, dreams, skills, people's sleep, and that's the problem.
I agree.
Yeah, you agree. Awesome, awesome. I'm so glad that we are talking all of this. I don't think there has been any time that we even had time to breathe and jog the memory lane and talk about these things. And I'm so glad that you pulled us in today, Raja. This is fabulous.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions you have for me, I guess?
I have a specific question for you.
Okay.
The feeling and the feedback is very real, right? So
Mhm.
tell me, pre DPDI, before DPDI, after DPDI, after an year of DPDI, how was your career getting contaminated because of DPDI? Things like that.
Okay, so I guess a lot of people are joining us. They don't know my background, so I'll just take a
Sure.
minute to mention that. So it's always the hardest question to answer, right? In a way. So Basically, I'm a journalism grad who turned into founder, right? And then, as I mentioned, I transitioned to product management. And at my startup, we were working on computational agriculture. So basically, making small scale farms more energy and resource efficient. And so basically trying to find a right balance between age old farming practices and cutting edge sensors, machine learning, and edge computing. So that was what I was doing. So after
Sounds
spending
good.
a like so after spending like 2.5 years in that, I transitioned to product management as I felt it was closest to what I was doing as a founder. Right. I saw like sort of saw a few overlaps. And then I joined this a company called Simplify, and they are into cloud-based network management platform.
Hmm.
Uh, and now in my current role, I lead the product team at Voltio Maritime, where we are building Wayship, like which is a collaborative workspace for maritime operations. So think of Wayship like Asana and Notion, but for highly complex and safety critical activities. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell in a way, right? So how has DPDI helped me? Okay, I can answer the question twofold, right? So one is, okay, pre DPDI, my notion of design was, okay, we have this idea, we need to give it a form. All right. So as a founder, that's the thing. So I had my co-founder and me. He's a tech guy. I was supposed to take care of marketing, sales, and the design part as well, right? So when I am going and talking to people, right, it was sort of, we would just take our notepads and then scribble and then show them, oh, you want something like this, right? So basically a very primitive form of wireframing, because we are in villages, we have no internet, no electricity in some of the like villages, right? So but we realized the power of visual prototyping, if you would call it that way, right? The very fact that we were able to show them something, hey, look at this, and they're like, and that helps your customer co-create with you, right? So that's the first experience that I had,
Hmm.
as my first experience, that okay, design is something much greater than just a few set of visual elements to help you complete an action, right? So from then, when I moved to the next company, like Simplify, it was called Open Wi-Fi before, now it's Simplify.
Hmm.
Simplify was going through a phase where I was brought in to explore new markets, new like verticals, because the core product that they were selling, because of the geo phenomena, right? No one was using like public Wi-Fi's. So the
Right.
idea was for us to understand that, hey, how do we leverage what we have built so far and then bring it to new markets, right? So that's where,
Hmm.
so I'll bring the concept of new markets and early stage PMs. It's extremely important for us to know designers, and I'll explain this with the story, right? Where 3 months when I joined, I had no clue, because again, I don't come from a networking background, although networking was one of the major challenges in my previous startup and why it sort of didn't work out for
Hmm.
us in village, because when you're using sensors, you can't have Wi-Fi there. It's as simple as that, right? And then like mobile data was super expensive. So when I moved there 3 months, I was just trying to understand, and then I realized, see, what these guys have done is simplified networking to an extent that even a cafe owner could operate it.
Yes.
And the idea was that, where is this more useful? So the first
Hmm.
thought is, why would someone who is a professional use a simple tool? But then we realize they are so overwhelmed with
Hmm.
all the different setups, all the different vendors and everything that they have, that having a simple platform to sort of manage all their like network switches, routers, and everything from all various brands under one single glass of pane, as they call it, right? So just that very fact sort of like reduces so much of mental load, right?
Hmm.
And that's
True.
where we found a new market. Now again, this, if you see, is basically what design research or customer research is in a way, right? Because we had an existing product. For me, it was not about creating something new, it's about finding a new market for this. And when
Yes.
we realized that within 6 to 8 months, like sorry, 6 to 8 weeks, my bad, we were able to ship it as an enterprise product, and we saw buyers, right? We had international airports like signing up, we had bank data centers, right? And now in a way, Simplify has like shifted to they have pivoted to something else. But back then, that was a success for us, right?
Big deal. So you didn't
Yeah.
make just another app.
Yeah, exactly. So so and then when I moved to like Voltio again, it's like a greenfield project, right? Again, maritime going through a transformational phase where it's like, okay, this is a big disruption in maritime. All the thing which was in paperwork and everything, now they want to digitalize it. Just the very fact was super exciting, right? And that's where before joining Voltio, I actually joined DPDI, of course, and then and that's where I learned, I think, most of my skills, I guess. And then when I joined there, so I mentioned like previously, right? So there is this thing that when you're a PM for new markets and expansion, and you're a PM for early stage companies, there is one thing in common: you have a very small team and a very small budget. And
Yes.
that means that you have to have multiple skill sets when you're doing at what I was doing at let's say Simplify. I don't think, and even in bigger organizations, that internal stakeholders would not just give you, okay, we have money, so let's you like take it, right? They first want you to validate whatever you have. They first want you to find the product
Oh,
market
yes.
fit, right? So when you have that, you probably have two engineers and a designer at max, right? And with that, as a PM, if you know how to design, that's a super skill that you sort of build up, because now this team of four could really do things much faster. You can't be just like, not saying traditional PMs are bad or something. I get it, but a role of a growth PM is very different than a role of a early stage PM, right? They have very different goals. Early stage PM is like swimming in ambiguity. We don't know where we are going, right? We have no clue what we are trying to find. But the idea is that we find a product market fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
from there on, you have other teams which will take you, which is the growth teams or platform teams, right? You know, who will take care of
Yeah.
things. And that is where I feel the power of design, in my personal experience, right? Where design sort of helped my team build things faster, because
Awesome.
now the very fact that the I think me knowing design reduced the friction between the conversations I was having with my designers and
Wow.
the way I was sort of able to explain it to my developers as well, right? Because I'm like, hey, I understand why the designer so and so means what he means, right? And
Yeah.
so do these guys. So I think as a PM, it also helps you in a way where it's like, okay, your job is to sort of make sure there are no wars popping up on all sides, right? So it's just the very fact that you can understand them better. And I think just by being a hand, like an extra hand to designer, if that's at the
Mm-hmm.
least, right? But I think the biggest impact that I saw in my current role is that initially when okay, so just to mention, so like Voltio Maritime is a Techstars like company, right? So we went through that. I mean, I'm program, a 3-month program. So there, of course, we had no product, right? We joined the program, and then they gave us a problem statement. In a way, we feel this is a problem, you should solve it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no background. So now what are we doing? So for me, the very fact that I knew how to design sort of helped us have this hyper iteration cycles, if I can call it, where every single day, so our office was right below their office, right? So we would just I'll just go upstairs, hang out with them, understand exactly, and then I'll do that live in front of them. And more
Mm.
than anything, even if they didn't have time, they will make time because they are so excited about the very process, right? And
Right.
then they are like, and that entire co-creation sort of helps if as a PM you know how to design. So yeah, that's my
You're a
experience so far,
you're a true product manager. You're not this
I guess.
postman running between teams. So I'm so
That you
glad.
really offend a lot of people by calling them postman.
No, I want us to kind of shake up and get back to reality. See, I call it as HBS, right? Human bullshit. Uh, we go through this a lot where we kind of have our own egos and beliefs and narratives and impressions, and this becomes a cage for us, and we believe that we are doing great, but unfortunately sometimes the reality might be far from what you believe. So if you're just running between teams and coordinating, then that's not product management. I just wanted the true definition of product management to happen. I know that I offend when I use the word postman, so that at least, if not anybody, the postman will know that they are postman. That much is done,
Hmm.
damage done. So
I
that
think the product man, yeah, like, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. So that they shake up and ask a question. So what does a PM do? What
Hmm.
do you mean by product management? Then we have a possibility to answer that question. You own the product success, buddy. You are you are the glue. You are the cement which holds this wall together. And you need to kind of bring us all desirability, viability, feasibility, evidence. You are the one who is bringing everything together and creating that product experience. And for me to just give this definition, it needs that shake up. I'm sorry, Raja. I offended all of you, but
No, no.
you
I,
all.
I think product management is such a new phenomena in India itself. I don't think this existed back when I started, right? And I'm
Yeah.
not talking like it's just 4 years ago, right? So it not a lot of like PMs were there, right? Now a
Yes.
lot of people don't realize what it means. It's a fancy role, I guess, for a lot of people. But because I was a founder, I understood what like needed by a product, right? I think I bring in more of a founder-driven product management. I don't know if that makes sense, but I
Oh,
think
it
that
does.
makes me own the entire product life cycle. I don't think of product about, okay, I'm going to be in this company for 3 years, then I'm just going to worry about that. For me, it's like the success of the product is important, because, and that's the reason I really like to build products from scratch, because it's like, it's not that I have an attachment to it, but I feel, okay, I am building the framework in a way that when I pass the baton, the other team should feel that, okay, this is not a burden on me, right?
Yeah.
It should be like, hey, I am a new product manager, but this guy has done such amazing work with like documentation, even if, because teams come and go, right? I think that's a reality. For some
Yes.
reason in the corporate world we don't agree, but I think that is something that it's okay for people to move around, all right?
Yes.
But build systems where you're building it in a way where new people come in, they understand what's happening. It's not just a tribal knowledge that's just floating around. So all these things, I guess, that is where the communication background also helps me in a way. So
I'm
yeah.
so glad. I'm so glad to hear a PM speak about design like this. And I don't know, probably the maturity of the industry is also in such a stage where in this DPDI, we actually have equal amount of designers and product managers actually taking it up. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you serious? Do you really want to do this? Because I'm going to grill you with all the design concepts. And a lot of PMs in my one-to-one calls told me that I am understanding that there is actually a lot of overlap between design and product. And if I don't understand design, I cannot be a better PM. And that was music to my ears. And I think we took one step forward the minute I heard those words. So you have already gone several steps forward, Raja. You make me absolutely proud. The way you have held design and product together, the total ownership that you have brought in Oltio. Yeah, we cannot kind of ask you some awkward questions, but probably you should also tell people that you because you have moved into strategic roles, your numbers also moved in that direction, in a higher direction. It's a fact. The more you think, the more you own, the more you take decisions, the better and better even your paycheck is going to be. And if we wanted to move up in the career, then we need to move up in our ownership as well. So I'm super proud what you have done in the last 2 years. This is awesomeness.
If I
Thank
can say
you.
one thing, it would be that design sort of unlocks a different phenomena of thinking in your in a way, if I
Nice.
can say it in a
Yes.
more like proper way. It's like learning a new language, right? All of a sudden
Yes.
you're able to express something which the language that you currently know won't be useful, right? So I
Yes.
guess, yeah.
I
I
think
call it the
Jay Rani is here, if I'm
Oh,
not
Jay
wrong.
okay,
is
I
here.
guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you
Jay,
should.
Hello.
can
Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
hello.
Good evening.
Good
good
evening.
evening. We
Oh,
can't
so
see
good
you
to
though.
have you. I
Yes,
know.
can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
we
hear
can.
you.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm in a
How?
I'm a sort of my travel never ended, so I'm in a road but I'm just enjoying the conversation for the past
Oh, wow.
past 40
Thank you.
minutes. So my take here on this thing is like on product. and design. So before DPDI, I would say like uh, I thought, okay, product. Why don't we shift to data science, or can we go ahead and study something on AI and ML? But DPDI is like an enlightened course. It actually made me to think like everything is problem solving. It's never. It can be any technology. Bring anything into the table. Yes, we can able to go ahead and hit it. So that's
Awesome.
that's
Awesome.
a fantastic. Yes, that's a fantastic. So previously, we used to go and look for we can fit in. Now we are going and
Mm,
selecting the roles and see like how we can actually modify ourselves and go and fit in. So you bring it any roles and they can pick it up.
yes.
This is
It's
a
like saying,
confidence,
bring it
Kathy. You
on.
don't come, yeah, yes, bring them on.
Awesome.
So this is a pure confidence. You feel that the soul searching ends here actually. Come on, anybody come here. So this is like so on the subject wise, this all comes when the fundamental becomes so strong. And thank you, Karthi. DPDI, and if without DPDI, our fundamentals will never be on this
Oh,
sure thing. So
thank
it's
you.
not
Thank
only
you.
on the fundamentals. Yeah, I think it's a completely a change in the habitual, the way that we started seeing the things. So thanks to Arjun, Madhuri, so entire experience team for it. The
Yeah, the
journey
tried.
is never going to be end. That's what I'm seeing it now. So
Oh,
when you posted DPDI, I am like, why don't we go and sit for the classes?
oh my.
I'm seriously curious now.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you,
This year
Karthi.
we have changed it like
Yes.
100%. So between
Yeah.
DPI 2019, 2020, 2021 has nothing in resemblance with the past programs we have done. And I think
In
the
fact,
entire
in fact,
credit goes to Arjun for pushing me in this direction. Yeah,
I
Arjun,
think
you should talk more.
I think Karthi, we had that moment, right, when we kind of arrived at the framework of how we are going to go about this cohort program. I think we said, I think I had, I think a full day moment where
Mm.
I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I wish all our previous students went through this. I wish. So I think that itself says that.
That that night, I think we bought a tub of ice cream and we were
I
celebrating
remember
that
that.
moment. That was it felt like an epiphany. And
Yeah,
I know it's very hard to talk about these things, but that's the whenever a designer feels like an idiot, it means that you have actually arrived. So oh
yeah,
my god, why did we not do this simplest thing in the first place? Why did we complicate it so much? Why did we go ahead and tie so many things together? And that is when in back of my head I'm like, okay, you have arrived, this is it, you're done, right? So that was the arrived moment. That is how simplicity will feel. Simplicity is very, very sophisticated, and it's also complicated for that matter. And I think we have simplified the design education itself to a very large extent. And that is
yeah.
why I'm jumping up and down and saying, oh, come and experience a radical. Okay, people, you have no idea, so Jay and I, just for the fun of it, you should come for at least like couple of radicals, and I bet you're not going to leave till you finish all the 20.
Yes, Kathy. I think I'm also betting on it. I'm not going to live until you
Yeah.
stop teaching us.
This
Yeah.
time we made sure it is not just the core competency. When we taught you, it was like the purest teaching designed to you, right? I mean, I know my pitfalls. I was such a purist, and I said, okay, these are the core competencies you should know. But now what we are saying is, okay, these are the core skills, but you also need satellite skills. You also need skills to work with yourself. You also need skills to work with others. You also need skills to learn continuously. So this is an amalgamation of different skills that come together that actually makes you an industry ready designer. You don't become an industry ready designer just like that, waking up one day and learning how to do a persona and empathy map. It's not going to happen. In fact, I would say you don't have to know how to make a persona and empathy map, honestly speaking, right? So we have come to that level of simplicity in DP 2021 for sure. So this is very exciting. You'll not believe this, Jay. My son, who is just 16, I'm asking him to come and be a part of it. In fact, he applied himself because he wanted to test if design is for him. I'm like, come. So now what it has done is the bar is raised that we need to be able to, literally, when I say, if I say this, even a 6-year-old will understand. Well, now I have to say, even a 16-year-old will be able to understand this.
Yeah,
And
I remember that particular moment where
Fantastic.
where Vidur applied for it, and I'm like, Karthi, did you influence, or is it his own decision
I
to,
did.
to
I did.
go with the I know. So I think that's fascinating, because that's exactly what I wish I did when I was around that age, around 18, 20. I wish I had a learning path, a much more comprehensive, how do I
Yeah.
say, a course or something that could guide me into this field. I had to figure out a lot of things by myself. And I don't think I would have made it if not for you, Karthi, honestly. So yeah,
Thank you,
but
Arjun.
I want people to experience what it shouldn't be in like for one person, two-person kind of a thing. Or the beauty that I kind of experienced journeying all along, I think everybody has to experience that.
You don't have to do all the night outs that Arjun did. You can still experience it in a much
Absolutely,
simpler way.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been awesome, Jay. Despite being on a travel, you were able to come here and talk to us, and we are thinking of doing this casual chats. I mean, what do you do after dinner? Such things we wanted to do, at least hereafter. One of the major complaint that has come is like we suck with marketing and we don't let people know that we are doing these kind of courses. So we are doing our bit, and please pull us in and ask these brilliant questions, and we should be able to answer them from our heart with so much fun. And if this is what is called, letting people know, we will let you know every single night. This is so much fun. Hey, Raja is back. Awesome.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like mentioning, it's a new vertical to capture for Karthi. You guys are finished now. She has figured out that 16 to 18 years old is also a demographic she can target. Arjun, get ready
No.
for it.
So my son was trying to figure out, I don't know if I should become an engineer. I don't know if I should become a doctor, lawyer, all of that stuff. So here is my advice to him: figure out what you don't want to do, and then let's figure out what you want to do later. So he went and he spent probably 15 to 16 all the way figuring out that he doesn't want to be an engineer, he doesn't want to be a doctor, he doesn't want to. So he gave a list of things that he doesn't want to. And one thing, he came back to me and said, I like what you're doing, but I don't know, I'm not so sure if I will be working like you. You're crazy, so you're scaring me. And then I said, okay, I'm going to prepare for the TARD, NARD, USEED, whatever, right? I mean, he was giving me a list of exams, and I'm like, even before you sit for an exam, I just told him one thing: you just tell me where are you going to end up. Okay, you finished your college, let's say you went to one of the top notch design universities. Now what, where will you come?
Hmm.
You will come back to this ocean only, right? This is the industry you will come. And I am telling him, why don't you taste the industry and then see if you really want to go and learn? It's at least for sure that you are going ahead and learning things. But if he knows that, oh, design is not my thing, isn't that a great answer? No is a better answer than an S, so that he will not be searching like me or Arjun or you, in the rest of. So I am like, you would have saved money, you would have saved time, this is going to be awesome. the only thing he's not able to piece his mind around is every parent is saying go to university, study for exams. You're the only mother who says even before you put your time for exams, please figure out what you want to do. This is an opposite way of doing it. And I'm like, when you have, a little bit of gray hair, you will understand what I'm talking about. So and this is also pushing me, because I cannot slack. I'm going to have family trouble if I slack this time. So that pressure is little, but that's fun.
Absolutely. I wish
Awesome.
every kid is able to sort of, I did that in a way, really, like, like right after my grade 12, I took a year off, and then I actually explored everything that I wanted to do.
Wow.
It was actually recommended to me by my uncle, who was
Ooh,
a researcher
awesome.
himself. Yeah. So he was like, explore first, like, right now, it's the exact words that you have, right? And I was like, okay, that is truly helpful. It helps you understand where you want to be. And yeah, I agree.
At least you will not come to midlife and wonder like, oh my god, what have I done with my life? At least you know
Hmm.
what you are doing. So because Vidur is coming, a friend's daughter is like, can I also come? So now we are having a teen party there. So I'm like, oh. So I'm asking both of them to come for a weekend design workshop just for 2 days, check it out, taste it, and then if they like it, then they can make a decision. That is the only group that I'm giving more time to make a decision. And if they come and say we want to do design, I'm going to be the first person who is like super elated about the whole thing.
Three geek, like geek aram dosas that day. Huh?
Geek haram dosa, exactly.
Oh, totally.
Ah, I miss our fun time with GKDs. We should do more of this,
True.
Raja. I don't know if Jay is still there. This has been a fabulous conversation, and thank you for pulling us into this and asking some simple things. And if this is all needs to be done, I'm ready. I'll do it every day. So yeah, thank you, Arjun.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
Karthi. Had a great
Yeah,
time. All right.
Awesome.
Yes.
it's been
It's good
a
to reflect.
fabulous journey. It's good to sit and reflect and see when you connect the dots, you see how long you have come. And thank you for giving this opportunity because we have never paused, we have never looked back. Uh, and this is the first time I think we are actually talking about these things, the nuts and bolts, as I call it. So yeah, this has been fun, and let's do more of this. And you keep rocking, Raja, at your workplace, and we will keep doing our bit to the design education aspect. And we are also thinking, because we are a design product and a no code ecosystem, we wanted to do design product and a no code cohort, so that we learn all these three parts, and that's it. That's you are baptized. You're ready. So yeah, that's been the thing. So yeah, this has been fun, and let's call it a day today. And any last thoughts before we say bye to our friends here? There are many old friends saying hi here. This is awesomeness. Thank you so much for spending your late evening, your dinner with us. This has been the I didn't think live would be so fun. I was actually worried and little nervous. And anything that Madhuri says, I'm going to live stream you, I'm like, I have to be very careful so that I don't say a few things. But today, I think I was just myself. Awesome.
Right.
That
Had a
was
great
fun.
time too. Absolutely. Any PMs who want to understand if design can help them or want to understand that part, feel free to ping me. All right. I'm there on LinkedIn. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Design PM Evangelist is here. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Raja. And thank you
All
so
right.
much, Arjun, for being my partner in crime and chugging along and pulling me, sometimes shaking me up and making me do things that I normally wouldn't do otherwise. So you
It
have been a great asset in this lifetime. Thank you so much. And we will keep talking more. And Raja, you keep rocking. So we will catch up shortly then.
All right.
So
Thank you
how do
so
you
much,
say bye
Jay,
here?
Raja. Yeah, it was fun.
Right? If you are there, thank you so much for being a part of this stream. We couldn't see you, but try and see if you can, kind of bring in tomorrow uh, with the camera. It would be awesome to see you in person. No, not really live, at least virtually. So yeah, let's. I think we are on time, 59 minutes and 47 seconds, and we will call it a wrap. And thank you so much, everyone who has been listening to us. We were just speaking out of our hearts, and this has been the best um, session, so to speak, that we are talking behind the scenes, how the thinking was, just jogging the memory lane. And after some 17 cohorts, I think we have finally come to a conclusion that, hey, I think we have arrived. I think we have arrived. And probably next
Yeah,
year I might change that and say, oh, we have arrived even better. But for now, this is the best we could do. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to us. And let's catch up
yeah.
shortly.
Thank you so much, people. Yeah, catch you all again.
Ta-ta. Bye.